Okay, so we are live. Good evening. So we are resuming Ramayana class after last week for Thursday. We didn't have class yesterday. So we are resuming today after 4 days break. So if you're new here, welcome. And you can watch this entire reading starting from start here. There's a video called Start Here. After that, you can start going through day 1 to wherever we are right now. So we are in part 2 and we are going to start reading chapter 18 in part 2 today. So let's get started with the opening prayer. Take a deep breath, close your eyes and drop your shoulders, open your chest. Take a deep breath and let us chant Om 3 times. Om. 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Okay, so we are starting with chapter 18, Dashratha's despair. So now Rama has left, he's left the kingdom. He has been taken away in the chariot by Sumantra, the charioteer, to be left outside the kingdom where the forest begins, and they have left. And this chapter is talking about Dashratha's despair. It came to the mind of the king finally that Rama had really left him and gone away. He fell down and his queens rushed to hold him. Kaushalya came and stood on his right and Kaikeyi on his left. Dasharatha looked at Kaikeyi with burning eyes and said, Kaikeyi, you sinned against me and you have wished me ill. I do not consider you my wife any longer. Do not touch me, I cannot bear it. I do not want to set my eyes on you any longer, nor do I wish to see anyone who happens to be devoted to you. To you, this worthless wealth was greater than all the dharma which has been taught you from time immemorial. I have renounced you. Noble minded Bharata has ever been devoted to his elders and he has never swerved from the path of righteousness. If, however, he should, when perchance, be influenced by you and accept the throne won for him by you, he shall not perform the funeral rites to me. I will disown him too. Kaushalya was standing by his side and she raised him up from the ground. Embracing him with her arms, she stood silent by his side. They were both thinking of the same thing, the picture Rama presented, dressed in tree bark like a tapaswan. They imagined the progress of Rama on the streets of Ayodhya and at the outskirts of the city. Look, Kaushalya, he said, I can see clearly the track of the chariot which bore away my child from me. He is lost to my sight. He will spend tonight on a bed made of twigs and leaves. The rishis in the forest will have the thrill of being with this child of mine who has been abandoned by his father. Janaka's daughter, who is as delicate as a flower, will now walk on the ground and thorns will hurt her dainty feet. That child with the eyes of a deer will be frightened by the wild animals in the forest. Even their roar will make her tremble with fear. Kaikeyi, I hope you're happy now. I will die very soon, and you, the widow of the king, can rule this land flowing with milk and honey. The king entered the palace with a face like that of one returning from burning ghat after cremating a dear one. Dashatha looked around him and the palace was empty without Rama. In a weak and faltering voice, the king said, Kaushalya, you are the fortunate woman who bore Rama. Take me to your house. Maybe my bruised heart will find some comfort there with you by my side. He was carried to a house, and there he was placed on a couch covered with costly silks. To him, the world seemed empty like the sky without the moon. Rama had gone, and with him, Lakshmana and Sita. He wept loudly and with both arms lifted up the skies and cried, Rama, you have left me, and you have gone far away from me. Fortunate indeed will be those who live to see you come back. I would have gone long before that. I'm certain of that. They sat together, although all through the night. Sleep had abandoned them, and they sat talking about Rama and only about Rama. Dashrata said, Kaushalya, my eyes have not come back to me from the vision of Rama seated in the chariot and going away from me. I can see nothing. Touch me gently, my queen. I'll find some comfort from the touch of you who is suffering as much as I am. Kaushalya was lamenting the misfortune which had visited her, and the king was listening helplessly. He knew that he had wounded her by the foolish promise he had given Kaikeyi, but then he was unhappy too. Sumitra was listening to Kaushalya and she said, My dear sister, it is not meet you that you should give into grief like this. Rama has taken upon himself this banishment to make his father's word come true, and he renounced the kingdom for the sake of this one wish to save his father's name. He is great and noble soul, and nothing untoward will happen to him. Lakshmana is with him to serve him, and Sita has gone with him. Wherever he may be, Rama will spread happiness and glory. There's no need for you to feel concerned about him. The sun, knowing the greatness of Rama, will not shed hot rays on the three of them when they walk in the forest. The god of wind will blow gently where they stay, and they will always be happy and comfortable. The gods in the forest, the Vana Devatas, will protect them. The moon will embrace them during the night, even as a father will, and they will spend the nights happily. Both the princes are armed with the astras which Vishwamitra gave them. You know how the yajna of the sage was guarded by our children. They are powerful, sister, and there is no danger threatening them in the forest. Soon the time will come when they will be with us, covered with glory. Rama is good among human beings, and he is more glorious than the sun. He is God among human beings, and he is more glorious than the sun or Agni. Such a man is sure to be welcomed wherever he goes, and you should not be concerned about his comforts. Abandon this sorrow and accept what has happened with a fortitude becoming the mother of Rama. All you have to do is to wait patiently. Rama will come to you and place his head on your feet and clasp them in his hands. Sumitra spoke words which were comforting to the grieving couple, and Kaushalya found a semblance of peace after she listened to her. End of chapter 18. Surya, you want to share your thoughts, and Laya also.
I feel like I say this every class, but they didn't talk about the wife again.
Okay.
And also how Sumantra was trying to console them but didn't express her sadness of her
Hmm.
son going.
Yeah, she mentions Lakshmana is with them and there's nothing to worry. And yes, I was thinking of the same. Okay, shall we continue? Chapter 19. On the banks of the Tamasa. The citizens of Ayodhya walked along with the chariot which was bearing their dear Rama away from them. They could not reconcile themselves to the truth that Rama had been banished. They were still in a daze and they followed the chariot blindly. They kept asking Rama to return to the city, and he spoke to them words of gentle persuasion and he beseeched them to let him go. Rama said, If you have genuine affection for me, you must listen to my words. I ask all of you to give the same affection to Bharata, who will soon be here to take up the reins of the kingdom. He is very good, sweet natured, generous, and righteous. He will rule just as well as my father has been doing all these years. He is wise beyond his age and he's gentle. He's valiant too, and you need have no fear when he is your protector. He's endowed with all the qualities needed for ruling a kingdom. As for my going away, it is a command of my father, and all of us will have to obey the king in everything. You should try to please the king, and only way to do so will be to let me go and to welcome the proposed coronation of Bharata. It was no avail. The more he spoke, the more they bewailed his departure. The crowd was unmanageable. They began to talk to the horses, asking them to stop, and to Sumantra, asking him to pull the reins and to let Rama remain with them. Rama stopped the chariot and descended from it. He could not bear to sit in the chariot when old and weak men walked towards him with great difficulty. He began to walk in the streets, and Sita was with him and Lakshmana. The Brahmins and the old men said, Rama, we are coming with you. Look, we have brought our household fire with us and we mean to spend the 14 years of your exile with you. An old man who had been given an umbrella as a gift in some religious function rushed up to Rama and said, take this umbrella and hide your face from the scorching sun. Your wife looks like a wilted flower. Ask her to take the shelter under this. We are all devoted to you, Rama, or you should come back to the city, or else you should take all of us with you. We do not want to stay in Ayodhya, which is without Rama. Rama spoke not a word in reply, but he walked with speed. The men of the city walked with him too, and all of a sudden, as though nature herself did not want Rama to proceed any further, the river Tamasa came into view, and soon they reached the banks of the river. Sumantra descended from the chariot, unyoked the horses, and made them drink the waters of the river. Rama stood staring at the river and its course with a thoughtful frown on his face. He turned to Sita and Lakshmana, who were by his side, and said, the first day of the exile is almost over. Night is soon to come, set in, and we'll spend the night here on the banks of the Tamasa, Lakshmana. You must make preparations for it. Do not let your mind dwell on anything else, and do not let sadness enter your heart at any cost. Look, Lakshmana, as night draws near, the animals and the birds are coming back to their dwelling places. Listen to the noises they are making. As for Ayodhya, the city of my father, will be mourning the absence of her dear sons, I'm sure. I'm grieving for my beloved father and my mother. They'll be weeping incessantly. My only comfort is the righteousness of Bharata. He'll certainly take care of them and serve them in every way. He will try to make them forget their grief. I know Bharata, and hence my confidence in the well being of my father and mother in the days to come. I approve of your coming with me, Lakshmana, Sita, and I need you. You must be with me to protect Sita. I'm spending the night here with just water to quench my thirst. I do not need any fruits or roots to eat. I do not feel like eating. Rama asked Sumantra to see the horses were properly grazed and taken care of. The sun was almost setting, and Rama sat on the bed of leaves prepared by Lakshmana. Rama and Sita by his side slept without any worry. His face was calm and peaceful as that of a child who was sleeping. Lakshmana could not sleep, nor could Sumantra. They sat by and spoke of the happenings of the day and about the sudden reversals of fortune they had gone through. They spoke of none else but Rama and his many qualities which had made him so precious to everyone. Rama woke up early and he thought of the immense crowd which was still under the spell of sleep. He turned to Lakshmana and said, look, Lakshmana, look at these men. In their love for me, they have given up everything and they have come here to the edge of the river. They have decided to go with us or else to take me back with them. They'll not let me proceed, I'm sure of that. Let us therefore go far away from them in our chariot before they wake up from their sleep. Lakshmana agreed with him, and they summoned Sumantra and asked him to yoke the horses quickly to the chariot. They ascended the chariot towards the north. After proceeding thus in that direction for a muhurta, come back to me, taking care that you leave no tracks. They will think I have gone back to Ayodhya and will look and follow the track of the wheels. Once they go back, they will not return. They'll be sorry that they have been deceived by me, but it cannot be helped. I have to resort to this for the sake of their welfare. It is not right that they should spend years on end in the forest, which they will surely do once they wake up. Hurry, Sumantra, and do the needful. In less than an hour, the chariot had come back with Sumantra. Rama and Lakshmana with Sita seated themselves in the golden chariot, strictly in accordance with the rules to be followed when a long journey is undertaken. Rama turned his face towards north before getting into the chariot. They began their journey to the forest. So that's the end of chapter 19. Do you want to share your thoughts, Surya? Unmute and speak. I can't hear you. Surya, I can't hear you.
Them and they were trying to leave.
Say it again. I can't hear you.
How Sumantra like immediately did what they asked, and
Yes.
how everyone was following them.
Mhm.
They didn't like bring anything. They just followed Rama and were willing to live in the forest for 14 years.
Yeah, and it was also very clever, no? How he is trying to make them think that they've gone
Yeah,
back to Ayodhya. And then
yeah.
this thing about facing north.
And also how much trust he has in Bharata.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we'll continue with chapter 20, the journey. They traveled fast, and every moment was taking Rama farther and farther away from his beloved Kosala. They spent the night on the way and resumed the journey the next morning, even as the east was lightening with the coming of dawn. They had passed several villages and cities by now. In the morning, Rama saw that they had reached the southern outskirts of the land of Kosala. Rama stood silently looking at the land spread out before him, the fields with the plows still and lonely in the morning light, the flowers which had just opened their eyes to a new day, the music made by the birds in the gardens. People had begun to walk out of their huts and homes, and Rama, with the others, hid himself behind some trees lest they should be seen by someone. The men were talking of him and the injustice done to him by the king and Kaikeyi. He did not want to hear any more, and quickly he got into the chariot and proceeded fast towards the south. They reached the river by name Vedashruti. The river was famed for its cool, sweet water. They crossed the river and went on their journey. After a long while, they reached the banks of the river Gomati. So far they're crossing quite a few rivers, right? Tamasa, then they crossed Vedashruti, now they've come to Gomati. Cows were grazing on either bank of the river, which was coursing fast towards the ocean. They crossed Gomati also, and another river, Syandika, lay across their path. All the way, Rama was describing to Sita the different countries they were passing and also their history about how Manu in ancient times had made a gift of the land to his son Ikshwaku, their famed ancestor. Rama was overcome with sorrow when he reached the banks of the Shandika. He said, Sumantra, I wonder when I'll be able to hunt once more in the forest or the banks of my beloved Sarayu, when I will be reunited with my father and mother. He paused for a moment and continued, hunting is in the forest has been sanctioned even by Rajashis. It's a pastime allowed to kings, but it must not harm innocent animals. Hunting on the banks of the river Sarayu was very dear to me. Rama then spoke about many things, showing them the peculiarities of some of the countries and telling them about the background of these, and thus time passed for them while they pursued the long journey of the forest. They had reached the limits of the kingdom of Kosala. Rama stood with folded palms facing Ayodhya and said, My beloved Ayodhya, I take leave of you and of the gods who guard you night and day. And I have discharged my duty to the king, my father. When I conclude my stay in the forest, I will come back to you and live happily with my father and mother. He raised his hands towards the ocean, heavens, and his eyes filled with tears. He addressed the citizens and said, I know how much you all love me. Permit me to go so that I will earn wealth, the only wealth which should be gained, wealth which goes by name Dharma. Permit me to go, I will soon come back to you. For a while, no one spoke, and the only noise which could be heard was the roar of a chariot as it rushed fast across the land of Kosala. Soon they had left Kosala far behind the land which was the heritage of the descendants of Manu. They reached the banks of the river Ganga, the divine river known by the name Tripadaga, since she flowed in the heavens, on the earth, and in the netherworld also. Ganga, whose water was clear and clean without any moss covering it, which granted heaven to those who bathed in her, since she cleansed them all of sins, who was worshipped as a goddess by rishis. The ashramas were found in the neighborhood, and even apsaras from the heavens would often frequent the waters of Ganga. Devas, Danavas, and Gandharvas were all to be found there frequently. The waves made sweet music along the banks, and at places the white foam of the waves seemed to be the smile of the river. So beautiful was the sight. They were to be found whirlpools in some places, and in other spots the river flowed placidly without a noise. At times the roar of the river was deafening. The river had a beauty which was awe-inspiring, and born as she was at the feet of Narayana, and descended from the matted locks of my Lord Mahadeva, this queen among rivers was sacred to everyone. Do you remember our journey travels around Ganga? When I'm reading this, I can vividly remember different spots in Ganga during the trip to Rishikesh. Do you have memories of that? Yeah, I can't hear you through the screen though, but I can hear you. On the banks of the river was a city by name Shringiberapura. Rama saluted the river and said, Sumantra will spend the night here. There by the side of the river, I can discern a big tree, and that will serve as a shelter for the night when we sleep. Let us spend some time watching this glorious sight, the river which is the foremost among all rivers. Lakshmana and Sumantra agreed to this suggestion, and the horses were led to the tree which Rama had indicated. They descended from the chariot. Sumantra then unyoked the horses, and after leaving them to free to graze, he went and stood in the presence of Rama. End of chapter 20. So we've read 18, 19, 20, I think. Guha is the next chapter, 21. They're meeting the chief of hunters, Guha, in the Shringiberapura. I think we'll do that tomorrow. It's a long chapter, so we can kind of complete it in a half an hour session tomorrow. So that's ending on page 181 today. And we'll continue from chapter 21 tomorrow. So who is watching this on YouTube later, make sure you subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon, and so that you receive notifications when I'm adding new videos. I'll be adding videos around spirituality and holistic well-being. So Ramayana reading is a playlist that you can listen as podcast as well. So go ahead and listen from the beginning to enjoy this whole story with all the details that this beautiful book tells us. And thank you for being there till the end of the video and watching this. And let's say our closing prayer now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. We're going to chant Om 3 times. Om. 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.